What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself. We're back. Marcellus White here. Panky in the building. What's up, Emmanuel?
What's up, big guy? I missed you, man. I'll be honest.
Really?
I missed you. And I missed y'all.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you called me once. Did you talk to y'all out there? Were you engaged with your people out there? Well, it's great to be back. So let's get it started in Dallas, where the clock is ticking. Tick-tock on tomorrow's franchise tag deadline for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. If Dak is tagged again, he'll earn nearly $38 million next season, or both sides will have until mid-July to negotiate a long-term deal. Reports say they're having conversations and things are, quote, heading in a positive direction. There you go. So, Acho, what side should cave in negotiations, Dak or the Cowboys?
Sal, I love jumping right back into the saddle where we left off.
Let's go.
On these Dak contract negotiations. Dak should cave in, and Dak needs to cave in first. I hate using the word cave in because it sounds as though you're getting the raw end of a deal.
I thought you were going to cancel Caveman. Captain Caveman cancel too. All right,
I hate using that term, but here's why, and there are three primary reasons. The first is we see how quarterbacks are swapping teams right now. We see how quarterbacks are being moved right now. What happens if the Houston Texans wake up and have this grand epiphany that Marcellus has been leading on over the course of months, that Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson are essentially equal?
I mean,
what happens?
Same amount of playoff wins.
What happens if the Texans make the mistake of believing that lie and they say, you know what? Let's swap headaches. Okay, Deshaun Watson, you go on to Dallas, and Dak Prescott, you come over here. Clearly, we have the ability and willingness to pay quarterbacks what they want, pay quarterbacks even more than they're worth. So say the Texans decide to make that mistake. Dak, you might wake up and be somewhere far more dysfunctional than Dallas. So first off, Dak Prescott, kind of count your blessings, if you will. Count your blessings. The second thing Dak Prescott needs to realize, Dak, you need the Cowboys far more than they need you.
I'm listening to this point.
You need them far more than they need you. Cowboys ain't made a NFC championship game in 25, 26 years. Since nearly I was alive, since I was born. That's how long it's been. So guess what, Dak? They used to that. Now, they might not want mediocrity, but the Cowboys are used to mediocrity. For the last 10, 12 years, they literally have been on average 8-8. And guess what, Dak? You ain't really changed that. You had a 13-win season. You had a 10-win season. You had an 8-win season. Like, Dak, you ain't got them where they haven't been in 25 years either. So you need them far more than they need you. And lastly, Sal, let's be real. You made a lot of money in your playing career.
A whole lot.
Tyrese. So you get it. Dak and the Cowboys are really delineating over about $10 million, right? He might want 37. They want to give him 35. He might want 40. They want to give him 37. Either way, we're delineating over about $10 million. Bro, ain't no state tax in Texas. So that $10 million you're delineating over, it's gone somewhere else. Say you go to Chicago. Say you go to New York. Say you want to be the Jets quarterback. Or say you end up being the Bears quarterback. That $150 million contract that Dak Prescott is roughly going to get, you're losing about $7 million worth of that in Chicago. You're losing about $13 million worth of that in New York. Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell a man that $10 million is nothing, $6 million, $8 million is nothing. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to say is look at the bigger picture, Marcellus Wiley. And for that reason, Dak Prescott should cave, if you will, in negotiations before the Cowboys.
You done?
I'm done.
Are you finished or you done?
I just showed up. I had to give y'all something, you know what I'm saying?
And you showed up sharp, Mr. Scared Money over there. You can't tell by your attire that you really just exude scared money.
Every now and then.
Over here telling Dak Prescott not to get what he deserves, not to get what he's earned. You know who needs to cave in these negotiations? The Dallas Cowboys. Just like I made them cave in 2005 when I took Jerry out there and said, give me my money. And I ain't even earned it. But I took it. And guess there's a situation where Dak Prescott's like, I've earned it. You've had me on the cheap. And Jerry Jones has let his ego get into this negotiation where Dak Prescott actually hasn't. And that's one big difference between Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, which we'll talk about later. But in this negotiation, it's really simple. Jerry, you have the most value franchise in all of sports. Don't act like y'all not printing money out there. So since you're printing money, why not distribute that money to someone who earned it, someone who deserves it? That's Dak Prescott right here. Because you can have all the money in the world, but Jerry, you still may not have the entire world. What does that mean? Have all the money in the world, but don't have the world. I can have all this money. I can have this high value. I can have this franchise. I could be Jerry Jones, 3-time Super Bowl champion as an owner, Hall of Fame owner, and still can't get out of my own way because I don't know how to take care of those who have taken care of me. He has paid a lot of people on this team, a lot of people on this roster that haven't lived up to their name or their billing like Dak Prescott has. So, to me, Jerry Jones reminds me of one of the younger off seasons, where I came back home to L.A. and I knew I was an NFL player. I knew I was a second-round draft choice. I knew I had some money in the bank, but I wanted the world to know I had money in the bank. And you know what I did? I went out there and rented a Hummer. Not buy, not lease, rent it. I just wanted people to see that I got it, and this is how I do it. And after a week of renting that Hummer, including meeting Janet Jackson, and she thought it was my Hummer, and that's a story for the off air. She didn't holler at me. I tried to holler at her. Whatever. Anyway, it almost happened. Hummer helped, but it was a rented Hummer. You know what that bill was at the end of that week? I remember it.
What's that?
$10,500.
To rent?
Gone. Just the rent. Hey, Jerry, you rented Dak last year. For how much? $31 million. You trying to rent him again for $38 million? 2 years? $69 million rental. And then guess what? After that week, Janet wasn't trying to see me. I ain't no Hummer. Guess what? Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, you ain't gonna want to see this team if you don't have Dak Prescott. You got to buy that. You can't rent that.
Oh, I love doing this show with you, Sal.
Come on, man.
I forgot how much I love doing the show with you because you take me places I was never going to go otherwise.
Ooh,
now,
let's go.
Well, here's what we do know. We know that Janet Jackson has seen a Super Bowl more recently than the Cowboys. We know that.
Well, everything was seen in that Super Bowl.
That's true.
We saw it all.
That's another conversation for off air. But we know Janet has seen a Super Bowl more recently than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
We know that renting this Hummer almost got you them digits.
Oh, Melrose,
hey,
too.
Janet, what you doing left?
I can tell you the
because
story.
you rented the Hummer. That's all the Cowboys need to do with Dak. You and I are almost, and I'm going to use that word a lot, we're almost saying the same thing, big dog.
I'm listening.
The Cowboys just need to rent Dak Prescott and see if they can get a Super Bowl.
Again?
Just like you rented that Hummer to see if you could get Janet. Now, you didn't. You came up short. You came up short. And the Cowboys have come up short. But my thing is, why commit to Dak? Because you don't know if you're going to get the Super Bowl anyway. Had you bought the Hummer, Marcellus, would you have got Janet? I don't know. Now, you have a beautiful wife, so you don't need Janet.
That's right.
You don't need Janet Jackson.
My wife keeps her clothes on at Super Bowls.
Yes, she does. Beautiful woman. Happy International Women's Day. But with all that being said, Sal, it's like Jerry Jones is actually making the right and wise decision. Let me give y'all some stats to back up these fun opinions and jest. No team has ever won a Super Bowl with a quarterback commanding more than 14% of the cap. I'm not a genius at math, and I'm not going to bog y'all down with all that. All y'all need to know is this. No team has ever won a Super Bowl with a quarterback commanding more than 14% of the team's cap. Dak Prescott, based off estimations and approximations, would be commanding 21% of the team's salary cap if he were to be tagged. Now, even with that being said, if he were to be paid, now he's commanding more than that over a longer term. So let's be real. Let's have the conversation I haven't heard other people have.
Let's go.
If you pay Dak Prescott and he doesn't cave and you pay him exactly what he wants, you're paying him just to pay him. Like, if your ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, you know studies have shown over the last 50 years, no team has won a Super Bowl doing what you're about to do.
Okay.
So if you do pay Dak Prescott, you're paying him to appease the fans. You're paying him to appease himself. You're paying him to appease you. You're paying him to appease other national analysts who say you got to pay him because of what he's done. But you know for a fact, or at least for a stat, that if you pay him, you're not going to win what you wanted to win anyway. So you're paying him just to do it, ultimately. And I think Jerry Jones, it's hard for me to say Jerry Jones is too smart for that because he made a bunch of bonehead decisions. But I think Jerry Jones is kind of like too wise to be like, I'm not going to do something that I know won't work.
Really? And you're going to base all of this on your numerical studies that you just...
50 years of history?
50 years of history that you just digested right now with one Google search. That's what you just did.
This is homework. This is homework.
This is homework? Oh, okay. Well, that Bachelor episode going to be interesting. If this is homework, what the hell are you going to say then? All right, here's the thing. One, I didn't rent the Hummer the second time. I actually bought it. Convertible, too. Holla at your boy. 415s in the back, name all is stitched everywhere. Hood rich. I did that. But you know why I did that? Because I had the experience of the rental. And I realized opportunities gained and opportunities lost, including money lost, by just renting it. If I want it, go get it. If I don't want it, let it go. But Dak Prescott has all the leverage in that scenario. He's like, Jerry, let me go. Find out how much I'm really worth. You don't want that. That's why you keep trying to rent me. How about this? You're making the rent-a-car place rich, but you're not taking care of your money. You're not taking care of your players. You're not taking care of your franchise. So that's why a situation, once you get a taste of it and you realize how good it is, that's enough. This is the same Dak Prescott that leads the Cowboys after 5 seasons in all major statistical categories. Number 1. That's a franchise with Troy Aikman. That's a franchise with Tony Romo. That's a franchise that has some great players at that position. More importantly, Dak Prescott, when healthy, has never had a losing season. So renting it sounds cute, but why not invest in it simply? I can't look at the studies like you want me to, because the studies told me that a 43-year-old couldn't win a Super Bowl. Oh, that just happened. A study told me that a 43-year-old on a new team certainly can't win a Super Bowl. That just happened. A 43-year-old on a new team that has to go on the road 3 straight games and slay dragons, including Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't happen, but it happened.
You talking about the greatest of all time. There are outliers. We know this. But does Jerry Jones really want to gamble $150 million and hope for an outlier? Because that's what the Cowboys would be doing. Again, two things can be true. It can be true that Dak Prescott is deserving of his money. And it can also be true that if you pay Dak Prescott his money, you will not win a Super Bowl. They can both be true. Yeah. You can be right and I can be right. And I think Jerry Jones, his truth is the absolute truth because he has to cut the check. Okay. Because I think Dak Prescott is worth his $150 million based on the market value. I don't think that Dak Prescott is actually worth that, but based on market value and market comps, he should get his $150 million over the course of 5 years, et cetera. Do the math roughly. But I think Jerry Jones also realizes, hey, big dog, if we pay you this money, we will not win what we are trying to win. Now, we might not pay you the money, and we still might not win. But I know for certain, if I do pay you, I'm not going to win. And again,
you don't know for certain. You know that history has told you and history has changed. We're living in a different world right now where everything is changing. Pepe Le Pew is gone, bro. You know Pepe Le Pew. You don't know Pepe Le Pew. Anyway, this world has changed so much, big dog.
But has the NFL?
Oh, good. The beauty of how we talk is sometimes we disagree and sometimes we mutually agree, but we still keep the tension alive. Let's keep the tension alive while we agree. You told me the NFL and the way that they go, the numbers suggest that Dak Prescott wouldn't win a Super Bowl. I wonder who has the most quarterback wins since 2016 and if any of them have Super Bowls. Does Tom Brady have any Super Bowls? He has the most wins since 2016, since Dak been in the league. Yeah. What about Russell Wilson? Yeah, he has a Super Bowl. Drew Brees? Aaron Rodgers? Ben Roethlisberger? Dak Prescott right there. Oh, that list right there shows me.
Let's dive in because
I don't want to dive in. It's wet. You're going to mess my hair up.
And this is why I love doing this show because y'all get smarter because he makes me smarter. I try to make him smarter. Let's go there.
You do.
Russell Wilson won his Super Bowl win on his rookie deal. Joe Flacco won his Super Bowl win.
He ain't on the list, but I get you.
But he should be. But he won his deal on his rookie deal. Ben Roethlisberger won one of his Super Bowls on his rookie deal. Tom Brady won his Super Bowls while taking pay cuts. Whoever else is on that list, The Eagles, when they won their Super Bowls, Carson Wentz was on his rookie deal. Patrick Mahomes, when he won his Super Bowl, on his rookie deal. All these cats, when they won their Super Bowls, on their rookie deals. The Cowboys, I said it before, I'll say it again until y'all hear me or until y'all tweet about it. You should have won the Super Bowl Dak Prescott's first year, 13-3.
Here he goes.
That's when you should have won it. That's when Russ got his rookie deal. Big Ben got his first one, rookie deal. Joe Flacco got his rookie deal. Eagles Wentz got his rookie deal. Rams and Goff went to theirs.
So you tell me Patrick Mahomes is never going to win a Super Bowl again? You're not saying that.
I'm not telling you that, but what I know is this. He got his on his rookie deal. Is he going to win it again? I don't know. We got to see what happens when Tyreek Hill is like, you know what? Run me even more money. When Travis Kelce in 2 years was like, you know what? I am 33, but re-up me again. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to again.
But while you're saying give me more money, the teams, the franchises are getting more money. This year, obviously, an outlier with COVID. But going forward, the new TV deal, the new CBS, these teams are printing money. And the Cowboys print the most amount of that money. It's funny that I gave you a list of the guys who have the most wins.
Yes, sir.
And the correlation, which was, damn, they have the most wins, and they also all have Super Bowl wins. Dak Prescott has not missed that window. What he's trying to say is project, Jerry. You're going to have to give someone at this position some money.
That's true.
You're really going to go out there in a conference, forget the conference, in a league where the quarterbacks in the Final Four were Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, who's about to get his money, and Patrick Mahomes, who's a billionaire damn near. It's not going to happen.
Well, let me ask you this. It's
not going to happen.
But this whole conversation is based around this one question I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
If the Cowboys sign Dak Prescott to a long-term contract, do you anticipate they will win the Super Bowl?
Absolutely, because Dak Prescott is the leader that they need to bring out the intangibles and everything around them. There's no question about their talent level, right? What's going to close the gap with them? The same thing that closed the gap with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's amazing still in performance, but greater in character, greater in immeasurables that we don't give respect to. That's what Dak Prescott's trying to cash in on. You are pushing back saying, Dak, there's no state tax. Go to these places. You're going to lose money if you go to Chicago. You go to New York. How about I'm going to lose $10 million if I lose this negotiation? Acho, you are under multiple negotiations. I would hope all the money I see you making in that suit is telling me something, too. I hope you don't lose not a damn one of those. And I hope someone doesn't tell you, well, Acho, we're giving you this platform so you know you can give us some of that money back. You can say, I can have both. And that's what I'm telling Dak Prescott in this situation. You can have both. It's what the Marine Corps preaches. A couple of my friends in the Marine Corps, they say that they want someone with greater character over talent. Why? Because that character is something you can't measure. And that character is something you can't turn off. No matter how talented you are, sooner or later, Father Time comes to rob some of that talent. But he doesn't come to rob some of that character. Coming up at the top of the hour, the rich just got richer. Who? Rich is rich in Brooklyn. That's not how it says. We'll tell you if Blake Griffin to the Nets is a good move. That's what I meant to say. But first, are the Texans mishandling Deshaun Watson's trade demand? We'll answer that next. Oh, this gonna get spicy. Oh, Speak for Yourself. Don't lose negotiations. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Welcome back. The drama in Houston, it is not going away, not anytime soon at least. People in Deshaun Watson's circle reportedly believe he is very serious about sitting out games if necessary. Now, on the other side, the Texans reportedly are willing to let Deshaun sit out the entire season and are, quote, adamantly opposed to trading him. Oh, things getting spicy down in the H, Marcellus. So are the Texans mishandling Deshaun Watson's trade demand, big dog?
No, they're not mishandling it. If you really want to look at it from the surface level all the way to the deep end, 8 foot if you want to talk about some of the city park pools that I grew up in. What about you out there in Dallas? What kind of depth we talking about?
We had a pool in our backyard after.
Damn, that boy got that money for a long time. I knew it. Let's talk about my situation.
Talk to me.
And talk from my experience, which is my expertise. Why aren't the Houston Texans mishandling this? Simply because they're honoring their part of this negotiation. This part in terms of the deal that they struck with Deshaun Watson. I give you a statement from Cal McNair. Let me shorten it and say Deshaun Watson, quote, is not only a special player and a great leader for our football team, but he is an exceptional human being that cares about the community. This was a day after Deshaun Watson put out his thank you statement to the Houston Texans, the Houston community, and more importantly, and specifically, Cal McNair and Jack Easterby, who are now principal figures in the quote-unquote disassociation with this same franchise. I bring all that up just to set the premise that they're in a different situation now than they were just in September. So if you're the McNair family and you're looking at Deshaun Watson, who has now changed his tune, you're looking to see, one, how authentic, how true is he to this new song change? All right, because just in September, you were saying something different. So if I believed you in September, do I believe you right now as we sit here in March? That's a conversation and a dialogue that they're having. Another part of this is how Deshaun is playing this forward. Now, Deshaun, I don't know how much ammunition he really has. If you think about a situation where you're like, look, I want out, they have to be an assistance for you to get what you want. So Cal McNair basically has to sit there and swallow the fact that I need to help Deshaun hurt me. Most people don't sign up for that. So now Deshaun is going to say, well, I'm going to sit out the entire year. Well, what's the precedent for that? A lot of people go to Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer didn't sit out the entire year. He threatened to sit out the entire year. But if you look at the beats of that, Carson Palmer demanded a trade in January. In March, he said, I'm going to threaten to retire if you don't trade me. And then it took all the way to the trade deadline in October for him to finally become an Oakland Raider. So you look at the situation, is Deshaun going to go all the way with it? Basically, we're asking. I don't see how he is, because going all the way with it, I don't see when it's been done, but more importantly, it's going to cost you north of $20 million potentially to go all the way with it. So when you're talking about mishandling, Deshaun Watson signed on the dotted line, the same dotted line that I respect, that owners sometimes rip it apart. But when Deshaun does it and the owner rips it apart, there are different consequences. Deshaun, you're going to have to pay to rip it apart. You say you are. We'll see if your actions support those same words.
I like your take. I disagree with your take, but I like your take.
Yeah.
The Texans are mishandling this Deshaun Watson situation. Sal, I'm going to take you somewhere, and I hope that you ride with me. Get comfortable, put your seatbelt on. We won't crash, I promise.
All right.
Think about a hostage negotiator, other terms calling it a crisis negotiator.
Yeah.
The objective of a crisis negotiator is to make sure that the suspect turns themselves in peacefully without harming themselves or any others. Right now, the Texans are playing the role of a crisis negotiator. Okay. So how we will dictate whether or not a crisis negotiator handles a situation is simple. How does it turn out?
Yeah.
Can you get the suspect to have a change of heart or at least move closer to your course of action? That makes us dictate, oh, they handled the situation correctly. But if you're negotiating with the suspect and they're becoming more adamant about their own way, they not turning in any hostages, you're not handling that situation properly. So when I'm talking about the Houston Texans, crisis negotiating right now, McNair is, Easterby is, what are they doing with Deshaun? He's not moving closer to handling this situation peacefully. He is not moving closer to not harming himself or harming others, the Houston Texas organization. So they're completely mishandling it because the outcome is only getting worse. At first, Deshaun Watson just wanted to say so about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. Then Deshaun Watson, he just wanted a black head coach, we heard. But now Deshaun Watson is just taking meetings to appease people, and now he's willing to sit out games.
Yeah.
So the Texans negotiations aren't moving Deshaun Watson closer to peace. They're not moving the Texans and Deshaun closer to reconciliation. Now we at a point over the weekend, Sal, where we're hearing Deshaun Watson's willing to sit out the whole season and the Texans are willing to let him sit out the whole season. What is that for crisis management? What is that for negotiation management? Now, if we want to look at things exclusively Texan side, Deshaun side, yeah, we can say the Texans are really adamant about standing their ground. But if we want to look at him as nobody wins when the family feuds, I think the Texans are completely mishandling it because it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
Well, I don't think it's getting worse, and let's hone in on that.
Hone in.
Because you need leverage to... Right now, Deshaun needs leverage in this conversation, and he doesn't have it right now. Because if Deshaun had leverage, he can get his way. He can get what he wants. He can't. He needs the assistance. And that's when you lose leverage, when I have to ask Acho for something that Marcellus wants. So when you're Deshaun, if you have to ask the Texans for something you want, just remember, you don't have all the leverage here. I remind Deshaun's camp that if you look in terms of leverage, they're sitting there saying, Deshaun, we love you. We gave you $156 million, and that turned into a 4-12 season. And we still love you. We have a tighter grip on something we love than something we don't. Fair. So Carson Wentz, you can go. Bye-bye, Philadelphia. Matthew Stafford, you could go. Bye-bye, Detroit. Because we ain't got a tight grip on them dudes. They don't have the same ceiling as you do, Deshaun. You have a tremendous upside. So when we talk about leverage, Deshaun needs the Texans. But the Texans are reminding themselves, we went 4-12 with you, big dog. In your 4 years, we went 29-27. We had 2 playoff appearances. We won 1 playoff game. The 4 years before you, we had the exact same record, the exact same amount of playoff appearances, and the exact same amount of playoff wins.
So then I ain't that special.
So
that's what I would be saying.
Guess what? You're not that special in terms of wins and losses by your individual production. But you are that special because what I say last block, I'm going to say again. What did they say right here? Special player, great leader, and he's an exceptional human being. Those intangibles are what closes the gap, which makes you a tremendous franchise player. It's the culmination of his physical abilities, performance, but also he possesses something that is a rare quality. And they know it's so rare that I can't go out there and get that in return. Even if I was to receive a king's ransom, I wouldn't receive this guy in terms of character, in terms of ability, and in terms of him being a special person. That's what's getting lost here right now. So anyway, the leverage is on Houston, Texas side, because they're looking at Deshaun like, really? You're going to sit out for $20-some million? Okay, go ahead and do it. Now, I showed you the precedent in terms of what no player has done this. I told you the precedent of the fact that we've been the same franchise with and without you. But here's the thing that they need to focus in on. When you talk about the circle, because this all started off of the conversation, he's telling his circle, hey, I'm going to sit out. Well, you know what Cal McNair and them are telling their circle? Something that I would make a Wileyism. Let's look at this Wileyism right now. Reflect on this, big dog. Mirror shows your face, just as your friends reveal who you are. Now, why is this a Wileyism? Because what's happening right now is Cal McNair, the Houston Texans, the NFL is looking like, are we going to set a precedent? Are we going to set something in stone that is not right now set? If you go back to Colin Kaepernick, everyone who is with Kaepernick or against Kaepernick all come together in one meeting place. Convenient that he meets Nessa and then things change. The script change. Okay, let's get to Russell Wilson. You brought this up. Convenient that things change for Russell Wilson in terms of his script, off the field especially, when he gets married to Sierra. Okay, now we got Deshaun Watson and his camp with David and Quincy, etc. Things are changing because of who he's around. Now, in those other situations, once again, the grip is not the same with Deshaun Watson as it is with Kaepernick, certainly, and even Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson's tremendous, but he's 32 years old. When you talk about this situation and you really dive into it, they just don't want to let him go. And they're taking all of the onslaught of criticism. The ego is getting smushed. They're getting disparaged, but they just don't want to let him go. And right now, I haven't found a sane enough reason why they should let him go.
Well, because I would look at history and I would say, wait a second. What happened when the Steelers were so adamant about holding on to Le'Veon Bell? Then Le'Veon Bell's like, I'm going to just sit out. They both lost. Yeah. Le'Veon Bell hasn't had... What is Le'Veon Bell doing since then? And the Steelers, they were the worst-ranked rush offense, second worst-ranked rush offense this year, in a time where Ben Roethlisberger is going off a cliff. Now, I'm not going to tangent, but I'm just going to remind y'all of the history of when ego's getting away and a team wants to hang on to a superstar instead of dealing them, we see what happens. Conversely, what did the Jets do with Jamal Adams? Some people say Jamal Adams might be a Hall of Famer. What we know is he's for sure a perennial Pro Bowler during the course of his career. They said, you know what? We could hang on to Jamal Adams, who is a dude, or we could just deal him for a first rounder, third rounder, a first rounder, and another safety, and we could flip those picks as well.
Yeah.
If you were halfway decent at your job, you have to assume that there will be another talented quarterback coming up in one of these next few drafts. You have to assume that you might be able to maneuver something in the offseason. If you are a talented head coach, you have to assume that you could turn a quarterback who we might deem as average into excellent. Look at what Shanahan has done with Jimmy G. Look at what Shanahan did with Matt Ryan. Look at what Shanahan did with Robert Griffin his rookie year. Look at what Shanahan did with Matt Schaub. If you are a talented head coach, you would probably say, you know what? I could take average and turn it into above average. I could take ordinary and turn it into extraordinary. So rather than sitting here and being like, all hail Deshaun, maybe I'll just say, we'll flip Deshaun for some picks, and I trust my ability as a coach to turn somebody who is good into somebody who is great. Because what we know is great head coaches make good players great players. Deshaun Watson's a great player. He ain't the only player in the NFL now.
I don't know. Think about it. You just brought up Kyle Shanahan. Let's use him. As a coordinator, that sounds cute. As a head coach, that sounds cute. With Jimmy G. Without Jimmy G, who is Kyle Shanahan? A losing head coach. That quarterback, as they say, the horse matters in this race. I remind you that if we're going to look at history in the Super Bowl era, not a single quarterback ever has been traded after leading the league in passing yards. Guess why? Because they realize this dude is so special that no matter what we can get back in return, it just won't add up. And that's what you're trying to do. I'm giving you $1. Paper dollar. You're giving me a bag of pennies and say, add it up. It's still the same thing. But at the liquor store, I ain't got time to be adding all these pennies up. So
here's the liquor store. You could have been anywhere. Why'd you have to be at the liquor store?
Because that was the last time I added up pennies. It's been a minute for me growing up, getting them dry shrimp. You don't know about that. So here's the thing. With Deshaun, the Houston Texans were tied for the third worst record in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
Right? Without Deshaun, they may be worse. But that ain't that much room. They may be the same, which is like, whatever. I'm not getting rid of him to be the same. Or that's much worse. But the upside is so tremendous if we hold on to Deshaun. That's in part why the Houston Texans have leverage. I end this with my DJ experience because Deshaun Watson in September 4th, September 5th, was playing a love song on the DJ. A little LL, I need love. Slow song. Everybody, you grab the one that you want or the one that you need. You're holding on. You're like, I need love. And then Deshaun just woke up one day and said, mother, get what? And everybody like, wait a minute. Now, you look at your girl, you're like, we still in love, but we can't be boogieing off this song the same way. That's how the Texans are looking at this. Who switched the song? And if you switch the song, what happened to a blend? Who drops it on the one from I Need Love to Kill 'Em All? And that's what's happening right now. Deshaun, learn how to DJ. If you want what you want, you got to bring it in a little smoother than this. All right, coming up, will Cam Newton and Ron Rivera be reunited? It feels so good. We'll tell you if that will make Washington a contender in the NFC. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we can all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan are on a collision course to Fastlane with the ultimate opportunist edge ready to take advantage on the road to WrestleMania. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Cam Newton had a tough first season in New England, but can he help a team with his former MVP capabilities? Well, Cam is set to become a free agent later this month, and some have speculated he could reunite with his former Panthers head coach Ron Rivera in Washington. Their QB situation is in flux after recently releasing Alex Smith. So, Acho, will Cam make Washington contenders in the NFC East? Oh, we doing
NFC.
We doing
I didn't know if you were doing the question yet. I know, like NFC.
You're doing that to Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. The Washington would be contenders with Cam Newton in the NFC East, but not well, in the NFC. No, bro. Let's just go divisionally because y'all watch the show. That means y'all watch sports. That means y'all love sports. In the NFC East, I think Washington could be the best team. But are they better than the Packers? Absolutely not. Are they better than Tampa Bay with Tom Brady? Absolutely not. New Orleans Saints with whoever they throw out a quarterback? Absolutely not. And I think Washington is worse than every team in the NFC West. Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, Niners, if the Niners have a competent quarterback. So in what space is Cam Newton making Washington contenders in the NFC?
Why you change your voice, baby?
It's not even at all possible.
Oh, boy,
let me also just remind you that when Cam Newton and Ron Rivera were together, they were together for 9 seasons. 3 of their 9 seasons were winning. So it's not like this is something far-fetched, me saying, oh, there's no way that... No, they had 9 seasons together of Cam Newton in his prime. And 3 of his 9 seasons were winning 68, 55, and 1. Take away that MVP and Super Bowl year, and I hate doing it, but I have to.
I hate when people take away your best.
I have to.
Okay, do you?
Take away just that one season, and all of a sudden, Marcellus, a losing record. Now, there's a 9-year sample size. So if I take away one season, you shouldn't go from having a winning record to a losing record if you have a 9-year sample size. 2-year sample size, that's fine. But all I did was I just altered roughly, 11% of the equation? And all of a sudden, the equation went from winning to losing, and I just altered 11%? Come on now, big dog. That's a problem. So I don't think that they will all of a sudden be contenders with Cam Newton. We've seen Cam Newton and Ron Rivera before. 3 out of 9 winning seasons. Losing record if you take away that one great season. It's not, no.
You are no CPA. It just took away 11% of the gross adjusted revenue. But you are CAP, as the youngsters say. You are cap. Cap. That was BS. Let's talk about Cam Newton making the Washington football team contenders in the NFC. Notice I ain't saying anything else. NFC. Hell yeah. Did I just witness a 7-win team from last year?
Yes, sir.
Go on the road, not even division winners, and slay dragons like Drew Brees, slay the same Washington team, Aaron Rodgers, get into the Super Bowl where people like Acho and the many others were like, there's no chance they can win against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And that 7-win team from a year ago looked up and found themselves as Super Bowl champions. Yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did that. What a change of quarterback. And now, I am not coming up here professing that Cam Newton is Tom Brady at 43. I know you did because you want to hear. You're rooting for it. But I'm going to say that a change of quarterback will benefit this team greatly. I remind you what this team is. This is the Washington football team that had the second best total and pass defense in the league. This is the Washington football team that allowed the 4th fewest amount of points in a season. This was a team that was 6th in sacks, so they got the defense. Did Tampa Bay have a defense? They had the defense before the quarterback showed up. Terry McLaurin, how'd he do last year? 1,118 yards. Not bad. What about the rookie running back, Antonio Gibson? 11 rushing touchdowns. Not that bad. Pieces. When you give me the comp of Carolina with Cam Newton, with Ron Rivera versus this comp, I say, was the team as good as this? Some would say yes, because they went because Cam went to a Super Bowl. Some would say yes because Cam also 3 Pro Bowls with Ron Rivera. So you know when somebody gives you that good feeling, that real good feeling, and then you just you venture off. I'm gonna find greener pastures to find nothing but rough patches and dirt everywhere, and then you start to wonder: am I really going to go into training camp with Kyle Allen? Am I going to go into training camp with Taylor Heineke and that's it? Let me remind you who those dudes are. Kyle Allen has never started a full season because of performance or because of injury. He has a losing record as a quarterback. And he's just coming off a dislocated ankle, and he's not Dak Prescott with that upside. Let's talk about Taylor Heineke. How's he looking right now? 3 teams in 3 years? Now he has continuity. He's going to do something. Because I saw him in the playoffs. He was balling in the playoffs. Was he? How about this? He went against this Tampa Bay team. Under 60% completion percentage, 78 quarterback rating. That's balling? Okay. All I know is Ron Rivera, he had his toes curled before with Cam Newton. He's going to get back into this situation again where he wants the quarterback that took him to his greatest place. That's Cam Newton back on the roster. Got to bring in Fox NFL analyst. I ain't talking to you today. Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, will Cam make Washington contenders in the NFC? Say yes.
Absolutely, and beyond.
Yes.
This is a team that went 5-1 with Alex Smith.
Right?
Did we look at how Alex Smith played?
Thank you.
Alex Smith had 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Acho, that's for you because I know you want to bring up Cam Newton's passing stats. His passer rating was 78.5. When I look at Cam Newton gave you the same production in New England without any of the weapons. Then you throw in the 12 rushing touchdowns. He would enable the Washington football team to do what they want to do. Run the football, play defense, take care of the ball, and find a way into the winner's circle. Absolutely, the Washington football team would benefit from Cam Newton coming over and being healthy and ready to play for that team.
Bucky, I was hopeful that you would misheard the question because I figured that you were typically too wise to spew a take like that. But let me say this, fellas. Who knows Cam Newton better than me? Who knows Cam Newton better than Sal? Who knows Cam Newton better than you, Bucky Brooks? Head coach Ron Rivera. Head coach Ron Rivera had the opportunity to sign Cam Newton last year. And who did he choose instead? Another quarterback he was familiar with, who Marcellus mentioned, and Kyle Allen. So head coach Ron Rivera, who knew Cam Newton well and knew Kyle Allen well, said, you know what, Cam? I'd rather have Kyle Allen. And Kyle Allen only went 1-3 as a starter and clearly did not play well. Now, again, it's a Super Bowl appearing head coach in Ron Rivera, who clearly knows Cam Newton better than all three of us and anybody at home watching. And he said, Cam, you not good enough. Give me the other dude, Kyle Allen. So who are you, Bucky? Who are you, Sal? Who am I to sit here and question Super Bowl appearing head coach Ron Rivera? He already made it plain for us. He don't think Cam Newton can do what y'all think Cam Newton can do, and he knows Cam best.
Man, you know, who am I? It's corrupt, mother. Do or die. I give up. Boy, don't ever. You know, I got that rap issue. I just go on tangents like that. Anyway, let's talk about who Kyle Allen is. Oh, we don't have to because we know who Kyle Allen is. Either not good enough or not healthy enough. Sorry, Kyle Allen. Ron Rivera made that mistake once. He's not going to make it twice because that's the definition of insanity, to expect something different by doing the same damn thing. Cam Newton and his 21 total touchdowns and 11 turnovers. That looks better than what Alex Smith was projected to do going forward, and he did it on a much better team than the New England Patriots. I remind people that this Washington football team won 7 games and won a division last year. And Cam Newton will come to that team as a better performer than Alex Smith and start with the floor being a 7-win capable football team. And I remind you, they played against the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round. How did that go? Do you guys remember in the fourth quarter when the score was 28-23, only down 5? With Heineke at quarterback? Do y'all remember that?
Sir.
And you want to act like Cam Newton is not the same as he used to be. Okay, I could take that argument, but he still has some tremendous attributes. Listen to this. Who led the NFL in passes down the field last year? I wonder who was it? Was it Dak Prescott? Nah, he was second. Was it Deshaun Watson? Nah, he was third. Oh, it was Cam Newton who completed 53.6% of his passes downfield, 20-plus air yards. Number 1 in the NFL. So you add Cam Newton and his deep ball threat that they didn't have last year with Alex Smith. They didn't.
Deep ball threat?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
Yeah. He didn't have deep ball receivers, but he was a deep ball specialist.
Deep ball threat.
You got to look farther than that. Get the binoculars out. Point being, you add him to a talented defense with some weapons on offense. With his capabilities still, Cam Newton could change the scenery in Washington.
Oh, I think both of you guys bring up great points because Marcellus, he absolutely would add a dimension to the Washington football team's offense. He would give them something that they need. This is a team that is devoid of talent outside of Scary Terry McLaurin. On the side, Antonio Gibson is a good running back. So you add Cam Newton, it gives them some pop. But Acho brings up a great point. If Ron Rivera really wanted him, they would have brought him in because they brought in his backups instead of signing Cam. So I think the Washington football team would be better with Cam Newton. I just don't know if the Washington football team believes in Cam Newton like we believe in Cam Newton. And that ultimately is the issue, and that will keep them from being a contender because they'll continue to mire in mediocrity at the quarterback position.
Bucky, I respect that, but because Sal's here, I'm here, and you somewhere trying to talk us both off ledges to meet in the middle and shake hands. All I will remind everyone of is this. Cam Newton will add a dimension to Washington that they don't have. I'm not going to neglect that truth. But he might take away a dimension that they did have. We clown Taylor Heineke, and I get us for doing that. But remember, in his first start with no prep, he threw for 306 yards. One start. Cam Newton threw for 200 yards plus one time all of last season. I just remind y'all, last season Cam had the 5th worst passer rating in the NFL. He was chilling in the club, as Marcellus would say, with Drew Lock, Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. That's all I'm going to remind y'all of before y'all start professing that Cam Newton would make the Washington football team NFC contenders. After the break, we're going to the NBA, the new look Nets. They get a new player every week, Sal, and I'm tired of it. But we're going to tell y'all if it was a good move to add Blake Griffin. That's next. Speak, Blake.
That table ain't got no heat. Why don't you speak for yourself, Marcellus Wiley, Prince Emmanuel Acho, coming to America too with them caps on. I saw you right there. Did you like the movie? Yes or no?
I ain't seen it yet.
You ain't seen it yet?
Is it actually out?
Oh, boy, I ain't got the pre-release. You are busy right now. Yeah, it's out. It's pretty good, too, I must admit. Time for our big story brought to you by Marco's Pizza. Lovers get it. Blake Griffin is Brooklyn bound. Brooklyn in the house. The 6-time All-Star signed with the Nets after agreeing to a buyout with the Pistons. Reports say the Nets plan on using Griffin off the bench as a small ball center. Brooklyn is the hottest team at the All-Star break, winning 10 of their last 11 games. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Prince Acho, was it a good move by the Nets to sign Blake Griffin?
I think it was. But I think it was because here's what we know.
What?
Steve Nash and the Nets, they're going all in on talent beats culture. Like, I don't adhere to that philosophy. I've made it abundantly clear. I don't adhere to that philosophy. But rather than toying in the middle ground of let's try to emphasize talent, but let's still have some culture pieces, they're like, bump all that. We going talent to the maximum. Because Blake Griffin, you add another dude who can give you 15 to 20 on any given night, though he's only averaging 12 this season. You're trying to revitalize what was Lob City. I don't know what they are now. Marcellus with DeAndre and Blake over their 30s. But I get it. And if I'm a Nets fan, I would respect it. Now, you think about it. You got KD, you got Kyrie, you got Harden, you got Blake Griffin. What you understand about all these people is this. KD been hurt, and he's gotten hurt. Kyrie, you know he be hurt. James Harden, not really. Blake Griffin, every now and then, he'll miss games due to injury over the course of his career. You're not going to have all your ammo. You're not going to have all your ammunition at the same time. We've seen this season, the big three haven't even played that many games together. So what you do is you continue to bolster your roster, and you go all in on talent. I'm not mad at the decision if I'm a Nets fan, but y'all know where I stand. I think culture matters. So me personally, I don't like it. But for the Nets' sake and those that ride with the Nets, yeah, go ahead. Y'all should rejoice.
That sounds to me like somebody who desperately wants to say no, but he can't say no because it's free. It's a free look at a former, arguable superstar, certainly a star, and that's where, yes, it's a free look at a guy who could potentially help them. I don't know if it will or it won't, but it won't hurt them. They can always let him go if it comes to that. But if he doesn't play, he doesn't play. He's playing on the minimum. So I agree with that. It really comes down to if you believe in what the Nets are doing, which is we're not going to worry about defense. We're just going to shoot the hell out of the ball. Then it makes all the sense in the world because Blake Griffin, I don't know whether he can run the floor anymore, but he doesn't have to because he's going to play the trail 5. He's going to be what Carmelo Anthony was in Oklahoma City. So you can be the last one down the court, Blake. We just need you to shoot the 3. And anybody looking at his three-point shooting numbers the last year or two in Detroit, don't do that. Look at 2018-19, the last time that he was fully healthy. He shot 36%. And more important, look at who Blake Griffin was and is in the postseason. He shot 46% from three-point range in the postseason for the Pistons. That, I'm sure, is what the Nets were looking at. He can defend bigger bodies inside, and then he can take that big body at the other end and force it to guard him on the perimeter. So I see where they're going. If you believe that defense is going to be the key to them winning a championship, and I still do, then this really doesn't answer that. But if you believe that the Nets are going to reinvent how you win a championship, then Blake only adds to that equation.
Yes. I can say it. I know that my co-host is reluctant to say yes. He's over here struggling with a no. I mean, I ask my daughter sometimes, I was like, do you really want that? She's like, no. I'm like, damn, she wants it. Just say yes. Damn it, it's not that hard, Alcho. This is insane. In a world, rich get richer and success begets success. Good Lord, the Brooklyn Nets are like, yeah, let's live by that principle right here, because now they have a 6-time All-Star who's their backup center. And all they're going to ask them to do is, hey, lead that second group. More importantly, come out here, shoot the three, run the floor, create opportunities for yourself, or create opportunities for others. Now, Blake Griffin has more in him than that in terms of responsibilities, but he's like, okay, because I realize where I'm going. I'm going to a situation where it's already rolling. No matter what you want to say about the Brooklyn Nets, this team is on fire. 14-12 is how they started off the season. Since then, 10-1. 13-2 versus teams above 500, which is the NBA's best. So now Blake Griffin goes to a situation where they're like, we want you, but we don't need you. However, you can show your worth by fitting into this role and then growing within that role. Man, the osmosis of him in a second unit against a second unit backup center, Blake Griffin, who just a couple of seasons ago was an all-NBA player. Are y'all kidding me? These Brooklyn Nets are coming out the East on fire. Whoever comes from the West, beware, because there's going to be danger in front of you.
But remember, Sal, because you're not this tight, but you're talking like it right now.
Soft?
Let's not forget about the game and get caught up in the name. Blake Griffin's first 5 years as a starter, 5 all-star appearances. His last 5 years, 1. Blake Griffin, he came into the league shooting 55% from the field. He came into the league giving you 12 boards a game, second year, 11 boards a game. But right now, Blake Griffin's shooting 30+% from the field. Right now, Blake Griffin only giving you 6 boards a game. You talking about Lob City, Blake Griffin, the great dunk on you and your mama, Blake Griffin?
Sure.
Only giving you 6 boards a game. The other thing I will submit, Slick Rick, is very simple. I told y'all one time Ty Matthew was mad at me, the great honey badger.
Really?
And I said something. I don't know what I said, but I said
you know what you said.
I know what I said.
That boy lied.
I know what I said.
On your head.
He tweeted at me and he said, I hate when backups talk like they starters. I was like, oh my God, Ty.
What'd he say?
So disrespectful. Said, I hate when backups talk like they starters. Blake Griffin, on average, gets 34 minutes a game over the course of his career. Now he's about to get what, Slick? About 19 to 21, maybe 22? Yeah. This starter, this 6-time All-Star is now about to be a backup. I hate when backups think like they starters. Because if Blake Griffin, the great 6-time All-Star Blake Griffin, forgets about his game and only remembers his name and is on this team with 3 superstars, 2 of the 3 are in their prime, you could argue all 3 if you will, Blake Griffin gonna be trying to hang with them and they're gonna be looking at him like, shoe fly, don't bother me. So all I'm gonna say is this, Slick, it sounds great on paper, but we got to see.
Yeah. First of all, it's no surprise to me at all that you, Acho, might do what Ty says that you did and that Ty took issue with it. That does not shock me whatsoever.
Not at all.
That said, in a lot of cases, I would agree with you. Carmelo Anthony, we saw him go through that transition, right? OKC, it didn't work. Houston didn't work. Hey, I'm used to being a star. I'm used to playing. You want me to play a role. But Blake, I believe, has gone through that transition already by being the guy in Detroit and seeing how hard that is and knowing where he is physically. I think he's going to be more amenable to it. The other part is that if he's playing, he's going to be taking minutes away from DeAndre Jordan. Those guys are boys, and that's important because there's no doubt that DeAndre Jordan talked to Blake and was part of the package in getting him to come to Brooklyn. So you still have to work it out. But at this stage, having spent some time with Blake in Detroit, that his last All-Star year there, and how he adjusted and how he feels about the game, his opportunity to demonstrate that he can play off of his basketball IQ and his shooting ability is something that he would love to prove because he's always been looked as that uber athletic guy who's going to pound you at the rim. He likes the chance to show that he's more than that as a player. And if he's going to be successful in Brooklyn, he's going to have to do exactly that.
Yeah, I echo that right there. Blake Griffin is not caught up in his name, as Acho wanted to suggest there. I had lunch with Blake last year, right before the pandemic. I was eating at a table. He was eating at a table way far away from me, but we had lunch at the same time in the same place. So, we were communicating, how we got to communicate off ball, right? Nah, he was there. We chopped it up. Not much. Here's the thing. 2 years ago, that guy was an all-NBA player. Acho wants to hit you and say, well, where's All-Star Blake? It's years and years ago. Well, guess what? The Brooklyn Nets is like, we don't need All-Star Blake. We don't need all-NBA Blake. You ever had an ex that tell you that, Acho? I don't need all that. Okay, well, you ain't going to get all that then. And that's what Blake Griffin is going into this situation understanding, that he's just going to ease himself into a backup role. Blake Griffin on cruise control can be one of the best backup centers we've ever seen. Like, half-heartedly, Blake Griffin could laugh at the second units of most of the teams in the NBA and go get buckets. I remind you, no big for the Nets is averaging more than two assists per game. You know who Blake Griffin is? When he changed his game, when he got known for his Lob City efforts, and he was starting to get injured because of those same efforts, he said, let me back my game up. Remember when President Obama said, hey, Blake, why don't you hit the 18-footer? He's like, I will hit the 18-footer, and I'm going to keep going to the 23-footer. And that's who Blake Griffin is now. He's a guy who understands his limitations. He's been doing that for years. Acho, get with the program, because Blake is different, bro.
But I just got to pose a question to y'all very quickly.
Okay.
Sal, you played at the highest level. Slick Rick, you've covered the game exponentially for years now. Blake Griffin has played in 642 NBA games in the regular season.
That's a lot.
Blake Griffin has started 642 regular season and NBA games. Y'all just sitting here thinking that this man, who knows nothing else but to be a starter, is going to comfortably and happily and non-begrudgingly be like, oh, sure, I'll go be a backup. Sal, you done been a host on several shows for several years. If all of a sudden it's like, Marcellus, we just need you to be a contributor. It sounds good. Great lip service. Oh, Marcellus will ease into that role just fine. He knows his limitations. No, you're used to something. You're used to excellence. 642 games played, 642 games started. Don't tell me Blake Griffin's going to be cool just being a backup.
Okay. He went there, girl.
It depends on who you're backing up.
Bam.
Who's in the driver's seat. And in this case, he's got three guys in his prime, and he understands what they're going for and ultimately the way they're going to play. It's a different style. So I believe he's going to accept that challenge. You do make a point, though, that when you've always been a starter and now you have to come off the bench, you have to be efficient in very small minutes with far fewer touches, and that can be a challenge. So whether he can effectively do that is the question. And then the other one is, this really comes down to small ball versus big ball with the Philadelphia 76ers. Is Blake Griffin going to make a difference if and when they play the Philadelphia 76ers? No, he's not. He's not going to be an answer for that. So it's really going to become a matter of styles make the fight and which style is going to win.
I'm going to just tell you guys, you're underestimating Blake Griffin, not only him fitting into the proper situation, but more importantly, this is the situation that is perfect for him. I remind you that the bench scoring for the Brooklyn Nets is 22nd in the league at 33 points per game. Blake Griffin on that bench is going to have impact. Only thing greater than Acho's analogy is my example. I was a starter in the league. And then I remember getting to Jacksonville. They were like, well, you could be a reserve on our team. First thing I noticed, other than the hit to my ego, because now people are looking at me like I was a scrub. I was like, what? I'm Marcellus Wiley. Yeah, I went third person. And they were like, no, you're not. You're now a reserve. But then I went out there and practiced against the other reserves. I was like, I know I'm going down the hill, but I ain't there yet. So Blake Griffin is going to be higher than those he's going against. Starters are better than backups. Now, Blake, all he has to do is check the ego and make sure that he fits into the role that they have designed for him. So while Blake is going down the hill, as Acho wants to suggest, they just changed and flattened that same hill for Blake to go out there and soar once again. I love this. How will Dak Prescott's contract play out in Dallas? That's coming up. We'll answer that question. Seems like everybody's asking right now. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Let's head back to Dallas because the franchise tag deadline is tomorrow. All the attention is on Dak Prescott. The Dallas Morning News says that whether Dak is signed to the tag or agrees to a long-term deal, he will be the Cowboys quarterback next season. So there's no sense of urgency there. Now, there's a sense of urgency to bring Bucky Brooks back.
I like
He's with us. So, Marcellus, how will Dak's contract negotiations play out?
Oh, you know how they're going to play out. By the Cowboys paying out. That's right. You got to give them the money and stop all this renter service that they're doing right now. Over there trying to rent Dak Prescott year to year. One is too costly. It's insane now. We're talking about $68, $69 million you're paying Dak Prescott for 2 years of service, and you still don't have him for your long-term future. So you just got to pay the man. I don't understand why Jerry Jones is being foolish about this situation. Think that the price will go down. One, you got to pay him like a top 5 quarterback because that's what he's earned. But more importantly, you got to add the inflation to that same equation. So let's talk about the top 5 quarterback average salaries in 2020. Patrick Mahomes, okay, you ain't gonna pay him that much. Deshaun Watson, ding, 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 $39 million. I'm right there. I got a comp for that. Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, alongside Jared Goff. You know Dak Prescott lives in that neighborhood, Jerry Jones. And now if you factor in the fact that this is a forward-facing contract, which means you got to pay him not only for what these guys have earned, but the inflation and the fact that it's not the year that they signed these contracts. It's the next year. Dak Prescott deserves exactly what he's asking for, something in the neighborhood of $40 million. So how is it going to end? It's going to end sad for Jerry Jones if Jerry Jones doesn't pay him, because Dak's going to get that money somewhere else. But more importantly, it's going to end bad for Jerry Jones if he wants to continue to rent Dak Prescott and never want to purchase those same services. So Jerry Jones, get with it, big dog, and pay for the man who has earned a new contract.
So I think it ends with Dak Prescott getting tagged. And it should end with Dak Prescott getting tagged, because if we're being real, that's best case scenario for both sides. Dak Prescott, you get tagged, you make $38 million next year. That makes you the 3rd highest paid quarterback. You're clearly winning because you're not the 3rd best quarterback, but you're the 3rd highest paid quarterback. Win for Dak Prescott. Now, if you're a Cowboys fan, rock with me on my logic here. Dak Prescott, you're about to have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, a motivated Ezekiel Elliott after a bad year, an offensive line where the majority of your starters sat out the majority of the season, so they should be back healthy and fresh. If you can't get it done with that roster, Dak Prescott, plus a Super Bowl winning head coach in Mike McCarthy, plus a defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, a new defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, who had the #1 defense in back-to-back years, something that hasn't happened since the 1980s. That's what Dan Quinn had in Seattle just 5 years ago. Dak Prescott, if you can't get it done with the Dallas Cowboys and everything I just told you there, you'll never get it done. At least in Jerry Jones' eyes, that's his belief. Again, quarterbacks that have stayed on the same team. Only Matt Ryan has had delayed success as long as Dak Prescott would have delayed success, assuming Dak Prescott were to find his way into the Super Bowl in year 6 or 7 or 8 with the Cowboys. Took Matt Ryan to year 9 with the Atlanta Falcons to have his peak performance with the same organization. So Jerry Jones is looking like this. Dak, we tag you. If you go out there and ball, which you should because you have everybody here, now we know for sure. But if you don't, we also know for sure. Tag is base case scenario for both sides.
My God.
My guy, Acho, you have me thinking that the Cowboys are the 1990s Cowboys with Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and Troy Aikman. Because based on your logic, Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott, the offensive line, this defense, which was the last defense that we, like, historically bad, they're all of a sudden, because Dan Quinn now has the call sheet, they're going to stop everybody. So oh my, when Dak Prescott returns, he returns to a Super Bowl team. Wow. So here's what I'm going to say.
What you going to say?
I think Dak Prescott should sign the tag and stay on the tag, because all of those elements that you talk about, I think he should evaluate if they're as good as you believe them to be.
Ooh.
Because here's what we know about the franchise tag as it goes to next year. This year he plays $38 million. Next year on a transition tag, it's $45 million. If he signs the exclusive tag, it's $54 million. So if I'm Dak Prescott, and I'm aware because I've been paying attention to the news, and I've been hearing that the new TV deals are kicking in, which will reset the salary cap structure. Oh no, I am slow to sign my name on the dotted line because I want to get all the hog marks. I want all the chitlins. I want to make sure that I'm getting a full plate because I didn't get paid early, so I'm not giving you a break now. I want all the money, and I'm getting all the money because the franchise tag is in my favor.
Yeah, man, it's just that simple. It's the Kirk Cousins model. We've all talked about it. I've been professing this. Like, Dak's in a no-lose situation. Either the Cowboys have to take care of him, and he's going to get the big money because $35 million, that was the ceiling last year. Now we're at $40 million. Oh, Jerry, you want to play this forward again? Okay, franchise me again next year at $54 million. Or you're going to have to pay me long term. Or I'm going to leave. And if I leave, I'm certainly going to get my $40 million because all I need is one suitor out there. I remind you that Kirk Cousins has made the most money in the NFL since 2016. And I have to remind my co-host, Acho, that Ezekiel Elliott's numbers have been declining since 2016. So please stop talking about this fully motivated Ezekiel Elliott. You had a couple years to be fully motivated. Now this is the year. Like, Dak is just walking back to a Super Bowl championship roster waiting on him. No, last year's absence proved they need Dak more than anybody. 11 points per game difference between Dak and all other quarterbacks on this roster. You hear Acho? Acho talks so fast. He's so eloquent. He slips in stuff that you might not catch right now. Because I heard you say Super Bowl winning coach Mike McCarthy. Wait. Was that props? Did that just come from Acho? Did you just say, I just give Mike McCarthy some love? Yeah, I heard you say that. Motivated Zeke. Mike McCarthy's a Super Bowl coach. Boy, stop. Let me talk about what's happening with Dak Prescott once again. And it's going to help Dak, but it's unfortunate it's happening to Dak. They're moving the goalposts once again. If Jerry Jones were to see Dak go out there with this roster in 2021 and do it, then he will pay the man. Man, going back to when they were 13-3, they said it wasn't you, Dak. It was everyone else, Dak. Okay, then Dak finally shows you it was him in 2019, and he started to show you that before the injury in 2020 at an NFL record pace. And all of a sudden, it's back to what it started. It's about the wins and losses of the team. Whew! All I know is when I look at Matthew Stafford, who had the highest paid contract at one time, but now is 14th. Kirk Cousins, highest paid contract at one time, now 7th. Matt Ryan, highest paid contract at one time, now is 10th. Jimmy G, highest paid contract, only 7 games, now he's 13th. You trying to tell me that Dak has to wait when them dudes didn't have to wait? Doesn't make sense.
Here's what I'm going to say, Sal. And Bucky, hold me to this, please, since it's national television. Sal continues to advise me, Acho, scared money don't make no money.
Oh, you scared money.
He's the worst type of comrade, partner you could go with to a casino. America, I'm about to put y'all on game. Because Marcellus is the one that sits there behind your ear. Hey, scared money don't make no money, Acho. So you put in a little more. Hey, scared money don't make no money, Acho. So you stack in a little bit more. Hey, Acho, you in a low-lose situation. So you think, oh, you good, because that's what Marcellus is telling me about Dak Prescott. It's like when you're playing blackjack and you pull 21. In theory, you're in a no-lose situation. But every now and then, the dealer going to flip over a 6-card 21 and you can push. Don't think Dak Prescott can't get hurt this season on a franchise tag, Marcellus. There is always a way to lose.
Oh, he said that last year.
Situation that looks like you can't.
Let's just go to the club. Forget the casino. Let's go.
The Patriots have a lot of cap space.
Let's go holler.
And they ready to spend. We'll tell you if we trust Bill Belichick to fix that team. That's next. Speak for yourself.
They're going to give away your table if you don't hurry up. Let's go. Let's head to New England, where the Patriots finished 7-9. Bill Belichick's worst record since he got there back in 2000. Now the focus is on next season. Patriots can have up to $60 million in cap space, and report says Bill Belichick is ready to spend that dough. So, Acho, you trust Bill Belichick to fix the Patriots?
Not at all, Sal. And if you hear this on surface level, people at home, I don't know what you're talking about. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time.
Even if you go deep.
At the surface. But again, y'all get your goggles. I need the goggles, but I can't open my eyes.
You can't?
I can't.
You get a shower cap for that?
Be killing me. And you know hair dries out. Y'all get your goggles, get your shower caps, get whatever you need, your swim caps, and let's take a deep dive. Because I don't trust Bill Belichick to get this thing back right, because it's become apparent to me Tom Brady was the glue holding the team together. Shower caps. Goggles. Let's go full screen. 2000, Tom Brady was not yet there as a starter. 2000, and they went 5-11 and they missed the playoffs. 2001, Tom Brady becomes a starter. They win the Super Bowl. 2007, for the first time in NFL history, a team started 18-0. 2008, Tom Brady gets hurt, ACL. They missed the playoffs. 2019, 12-4, 11th straight playoff appearance. 2020, Tom Brady no longer there. They missed the playoffs. Unless y'all just sit here and believe in statistical coincidences that every time Tom Brady departs, they lack success, and when Tom Brady is there, they have maximal success, then you got to read into these and you got to believe these statistics like I do. So, if Tom Brady's tail was the glue holding this Patriots team together, then why would I trust Bill Belichick to now write something that I understand Tom Brady had always held together? I also understand this. Bill Belichick, the last time he drafted a Pro Bowl player, I've told you this before, that wasn't a punter, was 2013, linebacker Jamie Collins. He traded linebacker Jamie Collins. I don't trust Bill Belichick, the general manager. Bill Belichick, the GM, drafted N'Keal Harry in the first round. The same N'Keal Harry that's been a bust thus far statistically. Bill Belichick, he used a second-round pick on Mohamed Sanu in 2019. Mohamed Sanu played for 9 games. Imagine drafting a second-round pick, playing him for 9 games, and cutting him. We would be bashing that general manager till the end of time. But because of the great Bill Belichick, we overlook all his errors and act like he can do no wrong. I get paid to analyze both sides, the good and the bad. I don't trust Bill Belichick to fix the Patriots because what has become apparent to me is that unless he brings Tom Brady back, I'm not convinced there's fixing.
Man. Woo! We about to fight up in here. Call HR. We about to go to war up in here. Yes, he can fix the Patriots. It's amazing that you don't have enough respect for who Bill Belichick is. Talking about Tom Brady.
Who is he without Tom Brady?
Who is he?
Without Tom Brady.
Without Tom Brady?
Yes, sir.
Oh, just a coach who walked in before he even said, hi, Tom Brady. I am Bill Belichick, the great defensive coordinator that already has 2 Super Bowl titles. And I'm also now going to be the guy that's going to work with you to get you to a place from a 6th-rounder pick 199 to GOAT status. Because I have, of all head coaches that have ever existed, the most Super Bowl rings. Oh, Tom Brady going to flex, but now I got 7. And then, once again, Bill Belichick said, come here. I'm not going to embarrass you because I know you got your new life and you're loving your boy, Bruce Arians, and have your fun. But 4 of the 6 titles you won with me, bruh, you won them when we scored under 30 points. You know what that means? I had you some defenses out there. Oh, you don't want to talk about those details. You want to leave that out. King of omission over there, Acho. Let's talk about the fact that who Bill Belichick is and who he's trying to become is a head coach who wins another Super Bowl with a different starting quarterback. There are only 3 head coaches to win a Super Bowl with 2 different starting quarterbacks, and all of them took at least 1, 2, 3, 4 years to do it. But you're looking at Bill Belichick, he has to do it in year 1. Okay, he is greater than all the other head coaches, so I understand why you want to accelerate the process. But the point of this is, Bill Parcells, it took him 4 years. George Seifert, it took him 5 years. Joe Gibbs, oh my God, 82 to 87 to 91, took him years as well. Tremendous coaches. Still not Bill Belichick. So who is Bill Belichick? Forget the glue, forget the sticks, forget whatever you think is bringing us together, because a 7-9 team that had all the issues they had last year, Bill Belichick has money to spend and now can fix those same woes. Oh, COVID's not going to rock the NFL and the Patriots like it did last year. Excuses gone. Patriots in the town.
Sal, I know you got friends like this because I got friends like this. Just because you got money to spend don't mean you know how to spend it.
Oh.
You know you got friends
Exhibit
like
A.
that. Okay, I didn't buy this. Just because you got money to spend, it don't mean you know how to spend it. $60 million. Congrats, Bill Belichick. I'm happy for you.
Oh, really?
But you've had 62 picks, and 1 has been a Pro Bowler of your last 62 picks. Great, Bill Belichick. You got picks to spend. Does not mean you know how to spend them. Bill Belichick, since 2013, you've had 3 Pro Bowlers on offense. Gronkowski, Brady, and a fullback. Doesn't matter. Congratulations, Bill Belichick. You got money to spend. Does not mean you know how to spend it. Bill Belichick is like a young Marcellus Wiley.
Chill.
He bought you a Lambo.
I ain't buying Lambo, a Ferrari. Yeah, too much.
Bought you a yacht.
Yep.
But you had all this money to spend, and what you doing? Just tricking it off, trying to get Janet Jackson. You and Bill Belichick are actually very similar. He just has a few more rings, so you have a wedding ring, and that's what truly matters. So, I don't think that Bill Belichick is going to fix this issue, big dog. He can't do it. He hasn't proven us as a general manager As a GM.
What?
He hasn't proven it.
How you gonna say that when the same general manager has the most Super Bowl rings of any general manager I know, any head coach I know? You are the dude who sits there and says, Acho's company has 45 Harvard graduates. Yes, but y'all losing money every damn year. I'm sitting there saying, I don't give a damn if they Pro Bowlers or not. I don't care if they went to community college. We are making our money. You keep giving me these Pro Bowlers, even though Bill Belichick has 17 All-Pros on the roster when Tom Brady was a Patriot. Don't forget that. Here's the thing about it. Stop making that false equivalence like, if you don't give the Pro Bowler, you don't draft Pro Bowlers, then you don't have team success. Bill Belichick has already disproved that same notion. But you know what's interesting? You are younger than me. You are a millennial. This is what y'all do. Y'all want to rewrite history so fast. Y'all don't want to respect the same history y'all trying to rewrite. And all I got to say to that is, if you look back in history, there's only going to be one man standing taller than Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick. Brooklyn's in the house, y'all, coming up. And they have a bunch of all-stars. We'll tell you if anybody can stop the new-look Nets. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Put some respect on the name.
The Nets already have their big three, but now they added a six-time All-Star in Blake Griffin. Now, Brooklyn is the hottest team in the NBA at the All-Star break, winning 10 of their last 11 games, and they've been doing most of it without an injured Kevin Durant. So, Marcellus, let's talk about it because the Nets just keep adding superstars. Is anybody going to be able to stop them boys, and who?
Only one team comes to mind, and if you look at me, you know what team is on my mind.
The Lakers, baby.
The who?
Huh?
You say what?
The Lakers.
What?
The Lakers.
Boy, stop. Ain't no lakes out here in L.A. The Clippers. Something you need right now. You're a little dusty up there. Don't you dare take your butt on that show looking crusty up there like that. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. Look, they both lost recently to this Brooklyn Nets team that was still undermanned. Not only Blake Griffin, but Kevin Durant. But I watched both games, and one of them was disgusting to watch. It was the Lakers losing to the Brooklyn Nets. Y'all lost by 11, but that wasn't telling the story. Oh, y'all was getting handled. I mean, handled. Then I watched them against the Clippers, and, that's just my only barometer test. I'm like, let me see how they're going to play against the Clippers. Was there a flop foul? Oh, my God. If that didn't happen, what? The Clippers should have won that game. Oh, it was an outcry. Oh, it was leading all the national headlines and all the stories out there. Clippers robbed in that situation. In all seriousness, I think it is the Clippers. One, I know for a fact the Brooklyn Nets are coming out the East. Who are they going to face is this conversation? I would say it's the Clippers because if you look at the Clippers, one, this is a team that has the second best offense behind what team? The Brooklyn Nets. So fight fire with fire. I'm looking at the Clippers in that. But also, if you look at the Clippers, they have a good defense, ranked 6th in opponents' points per game. So a great defense, but also a greater offense. It's going to be tough sledding for whoever you want to say, but the Clippers, to me, right now on paper, because they have a fully loaded squad, is the best foe.
I'm not mad at it. Obviously, you got a little bias in your teeth, but I'm not mad at it. Get some floss, get it out of there. I think the Nets' biggest enemy is themselves. Right? Like, there's two people that can stop the Nets. The first is the Nets. I think they will stop themselves by implosion. Come to playoffs when the going gets tough. Right now, they're set to play. It might be the Knicks, but more than likely, they'll probably have to see the Heat in the first round. And after that, you're probably going to have to see the Sixers or the Bucks. And then after you see the Bucks, you're going to have to see the Sixers. Like, there's going to be some sort of adversity.
Okay.
Can they beat all them teams? Absolutely. But might there be some adversity? Yes. And my question is going to be this. What's going to happen with Kyrie? What's going to happen with Harden? What's going to happen with KD when the adversity arrives? What's going to happen with Blake Griffin if he's still there when the adversity arrives? But more than that, the Lakers and the Nets have identical records right now. They're both 24-13. The Lakers are 7-7 without AD. We got to stop acting like AD will not come back. LeBron James, 9 appearances of the last 10 finals. The only time he did not have a finals appearance was when he got hurt. So if a team is going to stop them, it's going to be the Lakers team because LeBron James, we know, will be there. And they have identical records right now. And they 7-7 without AD, 17-6 with AD. Put AD back in that lineup. The Lakers are the best team in the NBA.
Hey, look how you just cooked them numbers, cooked them books. You act like the Brooklyn Nets had that team fully loaded from day one. They 10-1 in the last 11. That's not the Lakers. Ooh, we got quiet. The Brooklyn Nets against good teams are 13-2. What are the Lakers against good teams? Let me see. 8. Oh, that's cool. 9. Damn it. They're a losing team against teams above 500. You guys are. So now I'm looking at the Clippers, and I'm like, well, what are the Clippers? Because we know that their record right now, they've lost a total of 6 games without Kawhi, without PG, or some combination of both of those guys. But they're still 24-14. So if you want to cook books, I could make it look like where the Clippers have a better record than even your Lakers. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to cook books. I'm going to talk about the fact that there are only 2 teams in the NBA that's shooting over 40% right now. Wonder what those teams are. Nets, Clippers. Once again, I land in the same spot. The weapons that the Brooklyn Nets will use on the entire NBA, there's only one other team that possesses them right now. It's the Los Angeles Clippers. Good luck.
The issue I have is this, twofold. First, I'm going to talk about your Clippers because I don't think you genuinely believe that the Clippers are going to do something.
Now you're questioning my authenticity up here.
I don't think you genuinely believe the Clippers are going to do something you have not seen them done in the history of Check's Watch ever. I think you have to do this. You have to push this agenda. I respect this. You were a Clippers fan as a little boy.
Wow.
You were an underdog. You've been an underdog your whole life. I respect Hercules, go underdogs. But I don't think you fervently believe that the Clippers will actually be a match.
Stop.
So let's be real. Because I rock with you on the Nets come out the East. Who can stop the Nets from a talent perspective? I don't think anybody can. The only way the Nets can actually get stopped is if they start beefing or if injury arises. We already know Kyrie Irving, he has a hard time staying healthy. KD, even after the Achilles now, we're starting to see some adverse effects, right? I don't think, you know the kinetic chain, you've talked about it, the way the body all works together. Yeah. I don't think the hamstring is a correlation to the Achilles. I don't think any of that at all, but it could be. Yeah. So when I look at the Nets, it's just a matter of they're not going to have all their guns at the same time. But will a combination of Harden and KD, or Harden and Kyrie, or Kyrie and KD, or Blake Griffin and Harden, is that combination strong enough? But as long as the Lakers just have 2 pieces, they don't need the 3 that the Nets need, they don't need the 4 that the Nets, if the Lakers just have 2, LeBron James, AD, that is enough. They just need them 2. It's easier to have 2 than it is to have 3.
So you're going to give me the example of KD's hamstring that came off of potentially his Achilles, but not give me the example of AD's Achilles? Forget where it's going to lead to next, but right now, his Achilles. All I know is every coach I ever played for said, if you want to win a big game, Marcellus, do the little things. And last time I checked, one of the little things is shooting free throws. It's the hidden points, as they say. And I wonder what team in the NBA leads in free throw percentage. That's right, the Los Angeles Clippers. What you need. Is Russell Wilson's frustration affecting his image? Well, coming up, we have plenty to talk about with the Seahawks and this newfound rust. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Russell Wilson is frustrated, and we're starting to see signs that Seattle is as well. Seahawks mailed out a letter to season ticket holders, and Russ's name was left off. Seattle Times says cracks are appearing in Wilson's narrative, and they asked if the offseason drama has tarnished his squeaky clean image. So, Acho, has this offseason changed the way you view Russell Wilson?
I was so torn on this question, Sel. Yes, it has, but not negatively. Meaning, Russell Wilson, I now realize, is more selfish than before. But I don't fault him for being selfish. NFL stands for not for long, at least within the confinements of NFL locker rooms and NFL spaces. Russell Wilson is making decisions now for the preservation of Russell Wilson. He's heard us. I don't know if he's heard you, if he's heard me, but he's heard people on TV. Russell Wilson's greatest career accomplishment being carried to the Super Bowl by the Legion of Boom. He's heard that. He heard us clown Russell Wilson tried to cook and burn up the kitchen. He's heard all that. He's heard, his greatest achievement thus far has been marrying Sierra. Like, he's heard all that. And so in response, he's like, you know what? Nah, y'all not going to play me. Y'all not going to sit here and clown me. I'm going to make sure that when I look back at the course of my career, I did everything I could to preserve my legacy, to preserve my name, to preserve my image. So has it changed the way I viewed him? Absolutely. I thought Russell Wilson was just full, I'll do anything for the team. Yes, sir, no, sir. Team first, team. Nah, he realized, there may not be an I in team, but there's a me. And I got to take care of me. I believe that. I respect Russell Wilson for doing so.
Yeah, but it's also changed how we look at Russell Wilson. You just admitted it, too. When you're torn, then obviously it has changed because before you weren't torn. Correct. Remember, they used to call him Saint Russ. I'm sure a lot of people still do, but that was one of the things attached to Russell Wilson. America's last grown man Boy Scout, they used to say. I've read articles about this. And now this is the same guy who's coming off of a playoff game where, I remind you, he threw for 40%. And it just feels like classic blame game. Okay, I go to the Super Bowl. I'm with my wife. We sitting here. I'm Walter Payton Man of the Year. And I got to watch Tom Brady win his 7th. Then I got to watch Patrick Mahomes, who's younger than me, already in his 2nd Super Bowl, but getting smoked and getting attacked because of offensive line. And then something just triggered in Russell Wilson. Everything's not perfect in Seattle, so let me now talk about those issues. I remind you, Russell, even when you won your Super Bowl and you went back the 2nd year and almost won that one, things weren't perfect in Seattle. But we didn't hear those same complaints. Why do I know now this is a negative on his resume? Because Hall of Famers like Walter Jones talks about it now, saying, hey, you should have kept them grievances in-house, brother. Michael Robinson, running back on the Seahawks during Russell's first 2 years, now saying, hey, man, you going back to a locker room, you've been talking a lot about them, and they've paid you not once but twice. What else do you want? Quotes. So this is a situation where, Acho, you don't have to be torn. It's affected you as well. I give people this equation all the time. It's a logic equation. When you talk about negatives and positives in the same equation, the good and the bad, if you're adding those, it depends on how much negative and how much positive, right? But if you're multiplying those, it doesn't matter how much negative. This much negative multiplied by this much positive is still a negative. But this much negative multiplied by all this positive is still a positive. Russell, you're messing with the logic equation. We've heard nothing but glowing things from you through the good and through the bad. But all of a sudden, when we see you in a rough patch, not only through your performance, but through the team's success, now you want to play the blame game? Makes me look at Russell Wilson a lot differently.
I respect that, and most people do unless they skipped algebra and forget PEMDAS and don't know the whole multiplication, addition,
Skipped
all that
algebra?
Here's my thing, though, Sel.
Okay.
Russell Wilson understands they going to talk about you either way.
True.
So you might as well give them what you want them to talk about. Because you got Mike Robb, you got Walter Jones, man, it's a bad locker room to go into. You sure, da-da-da, all these things. But we still going to talk about Russ when he tries to cook and don't. We going to talk about Russ when we realize about 9 quarterbacks have gone to an NFC championship game since he last has. We going to talk about Russ either way. So he's finally just like, since y'all going to talk about me, I'm going to do what I want. What's the quote? You're darned if you do, darned if you don't. Might as well do whatever you want.
Damn.
That's where Russell Wilson is. He's like, look, I'm not just going to sit here and let y'all belittle me against my will. If y'all gonna belittle me, I'm gonna go out my way. I'm gonna go out guns blazing. So, yeah, it's changed the way we view him, Sel, but I don't think it's negative. Like, you've changed the way you view him. I've changed the way I view him, but I'm just like, no, it's a new player empowerment era. He could keep going out doing the same thing, getting hit, getting hurt, getting hit, not getting hurt. But what happens when he gets hit and does get hurt? And now we're just like, sucks for you, Russell Wilson. At least now he gonna be like, I told y'all. Protect me. So now the narrative changes. Russell Wilson goes out there, gets sacked 49, 50 times this year, ends up getting injured. We gonna be like, man, he tried to warn Pete Carroll. He tried to warn John Snyder. Man, they in the wrong. But if he would have just kept his mouth shut, now we're just like, it's unfortunate. Who's a backup quarterback in Seattle? Russell Wilson's wise, and I think he's playing things strategically.
It's a strategy. I don't think it's strategic because I think it's going to come back and implode on him in terms of what he's trying to do. So he wants to enhance his voice, which is a change for Russell Wilson in terms of being a little more selfish than selfless. I like that, except there's one thing that trumps an enhanced voice. Enhanced actions. Like, you know what? You ain't got to say nothing, bruh. We always joke about this, but if I'm the best, it takes care of the rest. Like, all y'all talking about, well, it's always the marginal or it's always the compromised player or, let's be real, the players that's not doing as well, that all of a sudden gets a louder voice. When it's like, dog, you ain't got to say nothing if you out there eating, you're out there balling, you're out there killing it. Deshaun Watson waits till he's 4-12 to all of a sudden, now I can't be here. Okay. Russell Wilson, when you throw for 40% or you have your worst passer rating in a playoff game since 2015. Oh, the offensive line to get me killed. Hey, Russ, you know they were getting you killed when you won the Super Bowl. You remember that? Oh, you don't. So as much as I'm in support of player empowerment, I'm also in support of clear vision. Look in the mirror. It's going to tell you a lot more than you trying to yell to the crowd. Coming up, Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston. Speaking of Deshaun, So would it be crazy to trade him for Kyler Murray? Where'd that come from? We'll get into that scenario next on Speak for Yourself. Interesting.
Welcome back. Deshaun Watson does not want to be a Texan. What about Arizona Cardinal? The Houston Chronicle suggested a Watson for Kyler Murray trade once Houston's GM starts listening to offers. A swap would reunite Watson with DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt. So, Marcellus, would the Texans be crazy trading Deshaun Watson for Kyler Murray?
Huh? Hell yeah, it'd be crazy. What are you talking about? I told you before, I'm going to tell you again. No quarterback in the Super Bowl era has ever switched teams after leading the league in passing yards. So why start right now? Oh, because Deshaun's not happy. Well, let me tell you this. You know who else wouldn't be happy in this scenario? Kyler Murray. The hell, Kyler Murray? Like, I went from Arizona to the Houston, Texas. He going to play baseball. He going to be like, look, I'll play for the Astros, Asteriskos, instead of going to play football any longer. This makes no sense on both sides. So, no, it's not happening because it's never happened in NFL history. But more importantly, I think Cal McNair is as dug in as Deshaun Watson is. This is going to be one of those chicken fights. We're going to see who wins that.
But here's the thing, Sal. You bring up that no quarterback in NFL history has led the league in passing yards been traded.
Never.
But didn't Jameis Winston lead the league in passing yards and become a backup just like last year?
You think Jameis Winston?
I'm just saying, you can lead the league in passing yards and drastic things could happen, Sal. You can lead the league in passing yards and have a drastic change of scenery.
Yep.
Now, no, the Texans would be crazy.
Yeah, throw 39
The Texans
picks.
would be crazy. Right? Kyler Murray, we anointed and crowned king very quickly. I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure it out. What has Kyler Murray actually done? But, Sal, let's say this.
What?
Kyler Murray plus like a first-round pick or plus 2 second-round picks, I'm not opposed to that deal. Texans, Deshaun Watson has been asking for his freedom. Y'all are going to give it to him by force or y'all going to give it to him by choice? Either way, Deshaun Watson getting out of Houston, Sal.
Freedom? $156 million, and that's keeping them captured? Okay. Well, then lock me up, big dog, too. That's it for us. Fox Men Live is next. Are you kidding me? Freedom?